little more than guesswork, but experts have long anticipated a possible viewership of over 500 million people.
Is this really happening?
I'm hearing we're getting a picture. Is that right? We have a picture? Sid, can we patch into... Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live signal from the moon. I'm having some trouble seeing it. There, I see it. There it is. Amazing. Just unbelievable. The shock across the nation at this event, indeed the shock across the world, is just indescribable. What was considered a fantasy just a short time ago is coming true right before our eyes. I believe we're looking at the legs of the lunar lander. There at the bottom of your screen is what appears to be a ladder. No word yet on when someone will be climbing down that ladder, but wait, here we go. I see something. There he is. We have him. Oh my goodness. Wow. Can you believe it? After thousands of years, ladies and gentlemen, gazing up in the heavens and dreaming of this day, a man is about to set foot on the moon.
Я делаю этот шаг во имя моей страны, во имя моего народа и во имя марксистско-ленинского образа жизни. Я осознаю.
Don't know what he's saying, obviously, but we'll get a translation of his words, man's first words from the moon. Just a minute. Okay, we have the translation now, and these are the words that cosmonaut Alexei Leonev, the first man to set foot on the moon, spoke just moments ago. I take this step for my country, for my people, and for the Marxist-Leninist way of life, knowing that today is but one small step on a journey that someday will take us all to the stars. I'm not sure what to say. Perhaps there are no words. So, for now, we'll let you soak in this historic moment and reflect on what it means for our country and for the world.
They say that the United States has had its day in the sun, that our nation has passed its zenith. They expect you to tell your children that the American people no longer have the will to cope with their problems, that the future will be one of sacrifice and few opportunities. My fellow citizens, I utterly reject that view. We must go forth from here united, determined that what a great general said a few years ago is true. There is no substitute for victory. 3, 2, 1. Further escalating tensions in the ongoing space race.
Violation of the International
Launch of another
Space
Soviet
Treaty.
military satellite yesterday provoked a strong response.
I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United
The
States.
Reagan administration announced that it was withdrawing the United States from the SALT Fund
Test
Treaty.
tube baby was born today in the United
Se sont
Kingdom.
effondrés hier au Camp David, ce qui a soulevé le spectre d'une nouvelle
Roman
guerre.
Polanski was arrested at the Canadian border while trying to escape.
Brezhnev said the decision not to invade Afghanistan was part of a broader refocusing of resources in the ongoing space race.
コンピューター技術の革命と呼ばれているものはガレージで始まりました。
The meltdown was prevented by technology first developed for Jamestown.
A nighttime raid by the U.S. military took the Iranians by surprise.
Leaders of the Polish Solidarity Trade Union were arrested in Gdansk today.
President Reagan refusing to bail out the Chrysler Corporation, calling the
U.S. hockey team failed to overcome the heavily favored.
In a surprisingly close race, President Reagan appears to have won a second term by defeating Senator
John Lennon narrowly escaped escape death when a would-be assassin's bullet.
John Paul II was shot and killed today in St. Peter's Square.
Anwar Sadat escapó un intento de asesinato.
Leonid Brezhnev, leader of the Soviet Union, has died. Yuri Andropov will become the next premier of the Soviet
Title,
Union.
a wedding gift from the Queen, Her Royal Highness Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, is welcomed by the crowd.
Announced that the first space shuttle will be named Enterprise in honor of
that our party and our nation need new leadership, new direction, and new hope. Tonight, the torch of idealism is lit in thousands of homes and tens of thousands of towns and hundreds of thousands of lives among the young in spirit and the young in age. It cannot go out. It will not go out. It will continue to burn.
President Reagan and Premier Andropov signed a lunar peace treaty essentially dividing the
congressional
moon in two.
report details how the lunar base's near meltdown was averted and how safe.
Famed US astronaut hangout The Outpost has now opened franchises in New York, Los Angeles, Berlin, and Tokyo.
The host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Margaret Thatcher a été tuée aujourd'hui lors d'un bombardement à Brighton.
Gorbachev's policies had the Soviet Union's economy in hyperdrive, expanding Soviet influence across the globe.
Breakthrough in nuclear fusion. The reactor, developed by Dev Ayesa and Richard Hilliard, has the
Republican
potential
Ellen Wilson, a former astronaut, won her Texas Senate race
Baldwin and
handily.
Cleveland launched the world's first space tourism company, Polaris Space Tours.
Gebaut auf Land, gepachtet von
The Beatles' reunion tour begins in Chicago, their first time performing in the U.S. since 1966.
Contract to mine massive deposits of helium-3 on the moon, an ideal resource for nuclear fusion.
The North Korean government announced they are abandoning their controversial ballistic missile program to focus on their space
President
program.
Hart won re-election in a landslide over Republican Pat Robertson.
Stakes in 1988 could not be higher. The choices could not be clearer.
Hansen testified that global warming has slowed due to the widespread shift from fossil fuels to nuclear fusion.
After several listening devices were discovered in the American
The film
embassy.
Love in the Sky is based on the lives of Gordo and Tracy Stevens, premiered in Hollywood.
die Oktoberrevolution gefeiert.
The Thomas Paine Space Telescope will be launched into orbit aboard the Pathfinder
Astronaut Danny Stevens, the son of Gordo and Tracy Stevens, has arrived at the James
Polaris Space Tours has announced their latest venture.
We already send folks up in space. We might as well give them someplace to sleep.
Very hard has again declined to send troops to Kuwait after the small nation.
The United States is going to Mars. NASA unveiled the plans for the Sojourner
Questions
1
remain if
spacecraft.
the Soviets will also be able to launch in 1996.
Texas Senator Ellen Wilson has announced she is running for the Republican nomination for president.
South Carolina, here we come.
Clinton pledged a positive campaign focused on building a bridge to the 21st century.
We will give you more incentives and more opportunity than ever before to develop the skills of your workers and to create American jobs and American wealth in the new global space economy. As the scripture says, our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what we can build.
Further, has been a part of the American dream since the founding of our great nation. We saw the impossible, and we made it possible. But there are those few among us who would try to pull us backwards. They underestimated us, our resilience, our resolve, our desire to look up at the heavens and never look back.
After one of the most sensational come-from-behind victories by a presidential
The
candidate.
Mars 7 Alliance. The agreement aims to end the competition and distrust that is historically
Antitrust lawsuit brought by Exxon, Shell, and Halliburton. The company's plan.
President Wilson was sworn in, officially beginning her second term. The Republican president is the first openly gay person to hold the office.
CEO Richard Hilliard called their plasma propulsion technology a, quote, game changer, because missions will no longer have to wait for the so-called Mars window.
The survivors of the mission have safely made it back to Earth, stranded on Mars for over a year.
The first man on Mars greeted crowds celebrating his return. Lee spent months alone on Mars after his capsule crash landed on the Martian.
The first hotel has opened on the moon. Available to the general public.
James Stevens testified against the defendants. Stevens struck a plea bargain agreement with
The
prosecutors.
ABC comedy Ellen has been renewed for a sixth.
Solicitó el divorcio de su
President
esposo.
Wilson signed the Marriage Inclusion Act, legalizing same-sex marriage. A very
The
personal
Race to Mars had its premiere tonight, starring Clint Eastwood as Ed Baldwin, Jada Pinkett as
Breakthroughs in fabrication on Mars will enable Happy Valley Base to manufacture aluminum from materials found on the Martian surface.
the successor to the Concorde, the aircraft is capable of reaching low Earth orbit and shortening
Stanley
travel.
Kubrick died today in England at the age of 70, known for
The autobiography written by CEO Eli Hobson describes how he saved Chrysler by leaning into the boom in electric vehicles.
El día 5 de la huelga de mineros en la luna Helios, sin perspectivas de
Y2K bug is wreaking havoc in Earth orbit today after clocks aboard the International Spaceport reset.
The question on everyone's mind is, will Vice President Bush be able to keep together the Wilson coalition?
In a tightly contested election, Al Gore has defeated George Bush to become the 42nd president of the United States.
L'ancienne présidente Ellen Wilson a épousé la professeure Pamela Horton lors d'une cérémonie.
It rains in Riyadh tonight after insurgents seized key government buildings in Saudi Arabia's capital.
The Osbournes and Moonlighters are leading the way for a new kind of television. It's being called reality TV, and it's dominating the nightly ratings.
And perestroika has transformed the once-dour Russian capital into a city of light and even...
Критик Горбачева Федор Корженко обвиняет его в предательстве коммунистических...
But the alliance between Gore and the Soviet leader shows no sign of slowing down.
As we usher in a new decade, the growing partnership between the United States and the Soviet Union, both on Earth and on Mars, is bringing a new sense of optimism to the nations of the world. Tonight, I can proudly say that the Cold War is over. Those we once thought of as our enemies have become our friends, and a new era of peace and prosperity is before us. I promise you today that we will not rest until we find those responsible for the theft of this asteroid. A resource that will bring prosperity to our nation and all nations of the world.
President Gore let a handful of anarchists and criminals run amok. It's high time we bring Mars back under control. It's high time we put Al Gore out of a job.
After an investigation found that its agents may have been involved in the asteroid
Man
theft.
on Mars Lee Jung-gil and a small contingent of other North Korean eugenauts have defected from the People's Republic of Korea.
M6 ont du mal à faire face à la hausse des coûts qui continue de dépasser les
Wall
premières
Street, stocks
projections.
continue to slide following reports of the soaring national debt.
Samantha Massey was found guilty today of conspiracy to violate the M7 charter for her part in the infamous hijacking of the Goldilocks
Former
asteroid.
astronaut Ed Baldwin, another conspirator, was tried in absentia, unable to return from Mars
After countless
for
delays,
health reasons.
M6 nations have finally shipped the first load of iridium to Earth, despite its tremendous work.
Заключенная Марго Мэдисон начинает свое пожизненное заключение в федеральной тюрьме США за
James Bragg clinched the presidency by a landslide. Al Gore is expected to address the nation shortly.
Good evening. Just moments ago, I spoke with James Bragg and congratulated him on becoming the 43rd President of the United States.
You ain't first, you're last.
Allegations of torture by the CIA on Mars continued on
Some
Capitol
alleged
Hill.
victims have been offered clemency for their actions during the Happy Valley riot of 2003.
That my administration will put Earth back in charge. We simply cannot keep funneling money to the moon, to Mars, without getting anything in return.
The formed coalition, known as ISIN, vows to break the M6 stranglehold on iridium. Members include China, Brazil, Pakistan,
Vowed to clean up the agency following the exit of disgraced NASA administrator Eli Hobson.
Hurricane Katrina was downgraded to a tropical depression in what has been one of the mildest hurricane seasons.
Ayer se afirmó que la demanda de espacio habitable en Marte no está
Happy
disminuyendo.
Valley's installation of state-of-the-art radiation shielding towers that deflect solar radiation
Mars workers on long-term contracts.
Keeping with the growing automation trend on Earth, Uhuru Robotics has launched a consumer model of its
increase in the number of undocumented refugees on Mars, known as craters, because they make the journey in pressurized cargo
President
crates.
Bragg narrowly won re-election, promising to continue his Earth-first
Helios
agenda.
Aerospace and others are on the hunt for life and the billions of dollars in applications such a
Once
discovery
complete,
would bring.
this massive new piece of infrastructure, called a space elevator, will more quickly transport iridium between the asteroid and Mars.
Actually, it's just basic chemistry.
M6 nations have confirmed the appointment of Mars' next governor. Leonid Polivanov, a political protege of Soviet President Gorchenko,
President
has
Ted
been
Kennedy has died at 77. Many expect his nephew, John F. Kennedy Jr., to follow in his footsteps and run for president in 2012.
Called the flash mob, and it's the latest trend sweeping the nation.
Of the 2010 Winter Games in protest of the M6's
rival nations have begun amassing troops along their border in a dispute over
I know it
iridium.
seems like things are out of control, watching your paychecks go lower, while more of your tax dollars get sent up to the Red Planet. The people up there, they have no respect for the law or a hard day's work. But we will not back down. Everything that makes the M6 the greatest alliance on Earth only comes through decisive action. And we will continue to stand up for what is right, to stand up for our people, our planet,